How to clean your Pentair Clean and Clear Plus cartridge filter? The first thing you do is turn off the control system or time clock. Then turn off the power to the system at the disconnect switch or breaker. You need to make sure that the pump cannot come back on. Some control systems will go back to auto mode if there is a loss of electricity to the system. So if there is even a 1-second power blink, the system could go back to auto mode and allow the pump to come back on. If you are in the middle of disassembling or reassembling the filter, this could cause injury or equipment damage. Please be aware that improper reassembling or not taking proper precautions when working on a filter can cause severe injury or death. I have a client that was actually killed by the filter coming apart under pressure. He was fortunate that there was someone nearby that was able to resuscitate him and saved his life. I always recommend hiring a professional, but if you are going to do it yourself, please take heed of all warnings. There are two different types of drain plugs you may find on this particular filter. One is a common drain plug that you can remove with a pair of channel locks. The other is a round plug that has a 7/8" hex head on the bottom. You may also use a pair of channel locks on the round part, but I highly recommend using the 7/8 wrench. Remove the clamp and spring from the band. Be sure not to lose any of the parts. I will discuss the parts later. The brass nut on the belly clamp is also a 7/8" hex head. Always use the proper size wrench on these brass nuts. Adjustable tools with teeth will damage the soft brass. Never loosen or tighten any filter band when the system is running and putting pressure on the filter. I have seen bands break, and the filter come apart. I personally have narrowly missed being injured or worse. Allow the filter to drain down. You will not be able to remove the top of the filter until the water is below the top and bottom joint. Now you can pry the band off of the filter. Be careful not to gouge or damage the fiberglass filter body. Once the water is below the top and bottom joint, you should be able to easily lift off the filter top, exposing the cartridges. Remove the manifold top assembly. Clean and inspect the screen on the air bleed tube assembly, and replace if it has holes in it. This tube siphons air from the filter tank during operation. If this screen is damaged or missing, debris may bypass the filter and return to the pool. Inspect the top and bottom of the filters for cracks or damage. If they are damaged, don't waste your time cleaning them, just replace the cartridge. Now clean the dirt and debris from the cartridge. Never use a pressure washer, it can damage the material. Be sure to clean deep into the pleats. It will generally take several minutes per cartridge. The dirt and debris get way back up into the pleats. If you see any tears in the cartridge material, then replace the cartridge. We use a Cyclone filter cleaning tool. This saves us 25 to 35% of the time to clean each cartridge, and it gets them cleaner. This is an excellent tool and I highly recommend it. There is a link below if you are interested. If you are not using the Cyclone, there are several good spray nozzles that do a decent job, but you have to have good water pressure. We have found this one to be good. We get them at Home Depot, but I have not found anything that rivals the Cyclone. Before replacing the cartridges into the filter, rinse the filter of any dirt or debris, then replace the drain plug. I recommend lubing the drain plug O-ring, and be careful not to over-tighten, you can crack the plastic material. Clean and inspect the filter body O-ring. If there are any cracks or tears in the O-ring, replace it. Be sure to clean the channel that the O-ring sits in. Remove any buildup of dry lube or debris. That goes for the top and bottom of the filter body. Lube up the filter body O-ring, a light coating of lubricant is all that is needed. Be sure to use a lubricant that is approved for pool equipment. Usually a Teflon or silicone-based lube. Never use a petroleum-based lubricant. Reset the O-ring back into the filter bottom groove. Now replace the cartridges back onto the bottom manifold, making sure the slip-on a little snug and are all the way down. Now replace the top manifold, making sure it slips all the way down into each cartridge. Then carefully set the filter top back on, make sure the O-ring is in its proper position. You also want to make sure you have the top facing in the right direction. It doesn't hurt to be turned in any direction, but you want to make sure that the pressure gauge can be easily read from the direction that is most convenient. If you want to make sure you face it in the right direction, then use a marker to mark the top and bottom at the same spot before you disassemble the filter. Now place the band around the filter. It does not matter where the spring assembly is located. You may put it in a different location if it is more convenient. Make sure you are getting the band over the top and bottom lip of the filter body all the way around. On this particular assembly, there are two washers. One with a smaller center hole that goes over the bolt before the spring barrel nut assembly. The washer with the larger hole goes over the brass barrel nut between the head and the spring. The spring slides over the barrel nut. If any components in this assembly are missing, then do not reassemble until they are replaced. These are engineered to work together in a specific way. If any parts are missing, they may cause damage to the band, or other parts of the assembly. If they are damaged, it could make the band unsafe. When tightening the barrel nut assembly, it should be smooth and gradually more difficult. Never use a power tool to retighten the barrel assembly. If it becomes difficult too soon, then you need to stop and take the barrel nut back off. The barrel nut is made of brass, which is a fairly soft metal. The bolt is stainless steel. If debris gets into the threads, it may strip out the brass, which can make it unusable. Check the threads for debris or brass shavings. Clean them up if needed. Check the band all the way around and make sure the gap is consistent. Ensure that the band is over the lip, top and bottom. The proper tightness on the spring is when all the coils of the spring are almost or just touching. Open the air relief assembly on the top of the filter, and turn the pump on. When all the air is evacuated from the filter, then close the air relief assembly. If you see any leaks on the filter, do not tighten with the pump running, turn the pump off, then tighten as needed.